Ladies and gentlemen, please rise, remove your hats as we honor America's colors, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Port arms. Carry colors. Forward, march. March time. March. Left turn. March. Color guard. Halt. Present. Arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. March time. March. Right turn. March. Forward. March. March time. March. Left turn. March. Color guard. Halt. Order. Colors. Forward. Yes.
Thank you, Newark ROTC program. Meet your fellow classmates from the Newark class of 1943. Thank you. Today, we gather to celebrate Jerrie Mock and her accomplishments that changed our world and the role of women in the United States. We owe a debt of gratitude to Susan Reed and Bill Kelly, who are with us today. They worked tirelessly to make sure that Jerrie Mock takes her place in aviation history and is recognized nationally and internationally as the first woman to fly solo around the world. Isn't that great? I want to thank our sculpture artist, Renate Fackler. Would you please stand? And all the volunteers that have made this day possible. Thank you all. We are also here to celebrate this accomplishment. Jerrie is Skyping with us as we speak. She's watching this program. Jerrie, thank you for joining us today. Her plane, 38 Charlie, is proudly displayed at the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, where our nation celebrates innovation and the accomplishments of great Americans. We are joined by members of her family. Please stand and be recognized, Mock family. We are also joined by Jerrie's classmates, the Newark High School class of 1943. Would you please stand? Thank you all for being part of this celebration today. Please welcome our Master of Ceremonies for the unveiling today, Mayor Jeff Hall, the great mayor from the city of Newark, Ohio.
Thanks, Marcia. Welcome, everyone, to the Works in wonderful downtown Newark, a true gem, a wonderful vision of Howard LeFevre, and we surely want to thank Howard for his compassion, his generosity, and surely his tenacious to push this through and have a wonderful facility down here to preserve the history of Newark, to expose our children to art, technology, and none the least to have a wonderful location to preserve this bronze that we'll be unveiling any moment here. Fitting of the occasion, I have a proclamation I'd like to read. Whereas on November 22nd, 1925, our great city of Newark, Ohio, became the birthplace of innovative female pilot Jerrie Mock, who set the bar in the aviation world. And whereas Jerrie Mock, who was born and raised in Newark, Ohio, and a graduate of Newark High School, was fulfilling a childhood dream of seeing the world from her airplane when she became the first woman to fly solo around the world in 1964. Whereas on March 19, 1964, Jerrie Mock, a 38-year-old housewife and mother of 3 at the time, would begin to make history as she departed from Port Columbus International Airport, embarking on a flight that would take her across all of the continents and all of the oceans of the world for a total of 29 days, 21 stopovers, 22,860 miles, thus making her the first woman to successfully circumnavigate the globe, and in doing so added prestige and honor to this community of ours. Whereas Jerrie's flight was not only made possible by her determination and piloting skills, but by the usefulness, dependability, and reliability of her 11-year-old Cessna 180 plane, named the Spirit of Columbus, but affectionately referred to as Charlie by Jerrie, that currently hangs proudly in the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, at the location just south of Dulles Airport, outside of our nation's capital. Whereas today the city of Newark is honored and proud to celebrate the unveiling of a bronze statue honoring this accomplishment of our very own Jerrie Mock, to be permanently displayed at the Works LeFevre Courtyard. Now therefore I, Jeff Hall, Mayor of Newark, Mayor of the great city of Newark, Ohio, do hereby proclaim September 14th, 2013 as Jerrie Mock Day in Newark, Ohio, and urge all citizens to appropriately observe the day in recognition of this historic and record-breaking endeavor of this Newark native. Thank you. At this point, I'd like to welcome up Tim Ross for a reading of proclamation. He works with our governor, John Kasich.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you, Marcia, for the invitation. I appreciate the chance to be with you here today. It's both an honor and a privilege to be here on the governor's behalf. He was very sorry that he wasn't able to make it here today, but he asked that I bring the following proclamation in honor of the occasion. John Kasich and Mary Taylor, Governor and Lieutenant Governor of Ohio, do hereby formally recognize the Works Museum as you honor the legacy of Geraldine Jerrie Mock. Today we celebrate the legacy of Geraldine Jerrie Mock by dedicating this new sculpture in honor of her career as an aviator. Mock was a Newark native and the first woman to fly solo around the world. Her courage and ambition have solidified her role in history, and we are proud to recognize her for the countless young women that she has inspired to reach for the sky. As the Works Museum pays tribute to this wonderful individual, we encourage all Ohioans to take part in the observance of her determination and strength. It's signed John Kasich, Governor of Ohio, on this 14th day of September 2013. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim, and of course, thank you, Governor Kasich. We appreciate that. At this point, I would like to bring up Stephen White. He's the Central Ohio Director on behalf of Senator Rob Portman.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Marcia, and thank you to the Works for allowing me to be here today. Unfortunately, your U.S. Senator Rob Portman could not be here today, but he has asked me to be here in his stead to commemorate this event. And Senator Portman took to the floor of the United States Senate to offer a congressional record entry to celebrate this glorious day on behalf of Jerrie Mock. And I would like to take this opportunity to read a portion of that congressional record entry that he presented on the United States Senate floor, if I may. Mr. President, today I wish to recognize Newark, Ohio native Jerrie Mock, the first woman to fly solo around the world. Jerrie has received numerous awards, including the FAA Gold Medal for Exceptional Service. She has made her mark in the aviation world as the first woman to fly solo around the world and has also completed other feats worthy of recognition. Her contributions have helped to shape the future of American aviation for our children and our grandchildren. Today, I would like to commend Jerrie Mock for her accomplishment and thank all those who contributed to enshrining her legacy for all Ohioans. So on behalf of your United States Senator Rob Portman, I wish to congratulate Jerrie Mock today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Portman, and thank you, Stephen. At this time, I'd like to bring up Ohio Senator Tim Schaefer.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you, Marcia, and to the Works for this wonderful tribute to Jerrie Mock today. And Jerry, if you're Skyping with us, congratulations, and thank you so much for your indomitable American spirit and your accomplishment and that we celebrate today. And I have here a proclamation from the Ohio State Senate signed by Senate President Keith Faber and myself. I'd like to read to you in celebration of Jerry's accomplishment. On behalf of the members of the Senate of the 130th General Assembly of Ohio, we're pleased to extend special recognition to Jerrie Mock on the unveiling of a sculpture in your honor at the Works, Ohio Center for History, Art, and Technology today. This presentation of this bronze statue of you, created by Renate Fackler and cast at the Cultural Studios, is a fitting tribute to you for your important contributions to Ohio's, and I'll add, the nation's history. A native of Newark, you became the first woman to fly solo around the world on April 17th, 1964, and this sculpture is a justifiable source of pride and an excellent reflection not only on you, but also on your family and the entire community. In this modern era, in which the durability of goods and values is often measured in months and days rather than in years and decades, it is not only enlightening, but also satisfying to discover that some of the representatives of the past still stand for future generations and a record of and a monument to previous achievements. You have certainly made a positive contribution to the state of Ohio, and we applaud you on your tremendous effort. Congratulations, Jerry, and thank you for all you've done. Mayor?
Thank you, Senator Schaefer. Next up, I'd like to welcome Leah Hetzel, and she is express jet pilot, and she has some wonderful aviation words to share with us.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is such an honor to be here. At the age of 7, I boarded an airplane for my first time ever from Cleveland, Ohio to Los Angeles, California. I remember staring out the window for the entire 5-hour flight, just wondering what it would be like to see this every day. My dad noticed how intrigued I was and commented to my mom, "Maybe you should be a pilot." I was blessed enough to grow up in a time where a thought like this was not too out of the ordinary. From that moment on, I wanted to be an airline pilot. I often wonder what it was like for the pioneers of this industry, those who had such big dreams that most others couldn't even imagine at the time, and these few who set out to do whatever it took to follow these dreams. Jerrie Mock is the definition of a dreamer. She set her heart on pursuing an inconceivable record, an accomplishment not only for the aviation industry, but more significantly, as an example to anyone with an ambition to do something remarkable. Because of Jerrie's perseverance, a 7-year-old girl could dream of becoming an airline pilot, and years later find herself in the front seat of a jet without needing to break any barriers of her own. On March 19th, 1964, Jerrie lined up on runway 9 right at Port Columbus Airport to take off on the journey of a lifetime. In her words, "I don't know what lay ahead, deserts, jungles, oceans, mountains, and what else, but I knew I had to find out." She thrived on exploring the beauty of creation and recognized a view from above is always fitting for a postcard. This woman genuinely loved the solitude of the cockpit. She embraced this unique connection she felt to her airplane without any regard to the fact that she was a housewife in the 1960s. Toward the end of her adventure, she even referred to her airplane as Charlie, a friend who experienced the world alongside her. My closest connection to Jerrie is that we are people who just happen to love airplanes that long to explore God's creation. I was inspired to learn that when she began this voyage, she only had about 750 total hours of flight experience and was a newly rated instrument pilot. To accomplish such an insurmountable task, like being the first woman to fly around the world, I would expect her to have extensive aviation experience. When I think about the task that was before her, I wonder how much the obstacle of disbelief in her own abilities was a factor. It's amazing to consider all of the difficulties she went through on this record-breaking flight. Radio issues, sandstorms, weather, icing, as well as language barriers, customs, culture shock. She overcame each of these challenges and came out on top of the clouds. Because of Jerrie and other pioneers of this industry, I can attend a Women in Aviation conference and fit in among 3,000 other women aviators. I can honor pioneers of the past, like Jerrie, who made flying a possibility for me. I can be current heroes still pushing new limits today. Jerrie helped to inspire an entire gender. One quote that stood out the most was when she was in Cairo and she noted, "In the office of the weatherman, I may be a lowly female, but at the controls of an airplane, I commanded the respect of a captain." Even though I often still hear comments like, "I've never seen a girl pilot before," or "Are you even old enough to fly?" We've come a long way, and I would like to thank Jerrie for making my lifelong goal, along with that of many other girls, attainable. At night, over the Atlantic, with only stars above and ocean below, Jerrie asked herself, was it really real? She pinched herself and thought, dreams do come true. I wonder if Jerrie realizes she was not only living her dream, but introducing new dreams to those kids out there who look to the heavens every time a plane flies by. What took her less than a month to accomplish will influence generations to come.
Thank you, Leah, for that wonderful story. Of course, Amelia Earhart was an inspiration for Jerrie, and as we now know, Jerrie's been an inspiration for many young women around the world and will continue to be as they excel through the world of aviation. At this time, I would like to welcome Kelly Nash, Women in Aviation International Spirit of Columbus Chapter President.
Good afternoon. We're here today to celebrate and acknowledge the Honorable and inspirational Jerrie Mock. I am also the president and an airline captain, and I'm also honored to be here to celebrate this monumental and well-deserving part of history. It wasn't until a couple of years ago that I learned of Jerrie Mock and her accomplishments. Karen Frederick, the previous Columbus Women in Aviation president, is mostly responsible for establishing this chapter. The first order of business was to name our chapter, so we all threw out suggestions. Since I'm from Atlanta, I wasn't very familiar with Ohio's aviation history, so I turned to Google search for ideas. Through my research, I learned of this woman whom was a pioneer, a brave aviator, and a Columbus native. Jerrie Mock was the first woman to fly around the world. The flight began and terminated out of Port Columbus. The Cessna 180 with which she performed this paramount adventure was officially called the Spirit of Columbus. At this moment, when I read that, I knew this was the perfect name for our chapter. And I'm confident that I can speak for everyone else in our chapter. We feel honored and privileged to have our chapter name that carries so much meaning and history. We have made it our focus and goal to contribute to the acknowledgement of who Jerrie Mock is and her historic accomplishments. The last couple of years have been an adventure for us. We have been advocates for Jerrie Mock because we believe she should receive the recognition and homage that she deserves. To me, Jerrie Mock represents what America is all about, an ordinary person who has extraordinary dreams and turns them into reality. Almost 50 years ago, there was this woman, a mother, a housewife, a 38-year-old, and a dream. Jerrie Mock had a dream and a goal to be the first woman to fly solo around the world. She believed in herself, so she took this dream and made it happen. Why don't you fly around the world? I think I will. And she did. These were the words spoken between Jerrie Mock and her husband. When I think of Jerrie flying solo in a single-engine aircraft around the world without a GPS and without today's technology, it's utterly amazing. And this amazement brings inspiration. How many people out there have dreams, goals, ideas? Our dreams can come true. So if you're out there and have dreams that you want to further pursue, you should seek those dreams. Whatever your dream is, you can make it happen. You can create what you want to create. You have to believe it. Believe something different can happen. You can do it. Great achievements create great leaders, which inspire action. Jerrie Mock represents possibilities. You can do what you set your mind to. You can do it. It is possible. Revisit your goals and your dreams. Nothing is as powerful as a made-up mind. Thank you, and thanks for coming out today to honor and celebrate Jerrie Mock's legacy. And thanks, Jerrie Mock, for being our pioneer to inspiration.
Thank you, Kelly. Certainly, Leah and Kelly's stories were wonderful. The moment we've all been waiting for is here, and at this time, I'd like to bring up Jerry's sister, Susan Reed, for the unveiling of the wonderful sculpture.
I don't know about you, but I'm thrilled. Jerry, you have to be so excited to know that all these people turned out today, this beautiful sunny day, thank you for the weatherman, to honor you, Jerry. I'm so honored, so privileged to be your younger sister. I had to get that part in. I have looked up to my sister all of my life for many, many things, and not the least of which was her flight around the world. It took guts. This little lady in a little single-engine airplane that was 11 years old, but by golly, she did it. She was 7 years old when she took a flight in a Ford trimotor airplane. She loved it. She said to our parents, "I'm going to be a pilot someday." And then as classmates talk, "What will you do when you grow up?" and so forth, she said, "I'm going to be a pilot." They laughed. When she studied her favorite subjects about other countries, thinking, "I want to see a pyramid, I want to ride a camel, I want to do all these things," she said, "I'm going to be a pilot and I'm going to fly around the world." Well, some of them laughed, but some of her classmates here today, they weren't laughing. And when she came back from her flight, they were at the airport with a big sign, "Welcome home, Jerry, class of 1943. And I'm so pleased that some of those classmates are here today, and some of my classmates here today too. This is my high school reunion, 10 years maybe? Anyway. So I'm thrilled to have all of you here too. This was made possible because of so many people who made donations to this wonderful event. Now, my sister had a dream to fly around the world. A couple of years ago, I met a gentleman from Heath. I had his kids in school where I taught. He had a dream too. He called me and said, "Susan, I have been waiting for 47 years for someone to honor and recognize your sister big time here in her own community." He said, "I've been waiting for somebody, and I finally decided I have to do it myself." He was even willing to mortgage his house, hopefully getting some money back. And I said, "No, Bill, you can't do that, but we'll see what we can do." He found this wonderful sculptor, Renate. Stand up again, please. She looks like a work of art, and she created one. But when he called Renate, she had just heard my story about Jerry, my program, the week before, so she knew all about it and thought, "Okay, yes, you're right, that's something worthy," so she wanted to be a part of it. Well, Jerry's dream came true to fly around the world, and Bill, your dream came true. You're the one who made it happen. Thank you so much to all of you.
This is the moment you've been waiting for. The plaque reads, Newark native Jerrie Mock, first woman to complete a solo flight around the world in the spirit of Columbus. Dedicated on this day, September 14th, 2013, and donated by friends and family. Thank you all so much for coming today, and thank you so much for supporting the Works Museum and the innovation of all the people that live in our community. Thank you so much.